I'm so sad about my computer, y'all. Okay, so technical difficulties are a common thing in C2A. My technical difficulties at this moment, my original computer, my Mac computer, messed up. I'm using, thank goodness for my mother, right? Because she let me use her computer. It's an Intel. I can't hear the intro music ever. Like, I can't hear it. So I can't jam out before these Mondays. Happy Monday, y'all. Welcome back to Chill to Action on the Call to Action Network. It's me, it's your girl, Danny Joy, hanging out with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Denizio.
You would think I know this by now. I started pointing this way. And I really should know that's the other way. It's that way. There you go. It's me, it's PLD. Happy to be here on this Monday as well with my favorite co-host, Danielle. Speaking of technical difficulties, Kelsey is again having technical difficulties. Well, it's more like internet provider difficulties more than anything else. Yeah. She's in the midst of changing things around, and but that means we are going to be on our own tonight. She is in the chat.
She's in the chat.
It makes me happy, makes me feel a little more at ease. But it does mean that I'm going to be playing double duty and reading your questions. Anything you send in on Streamlabs, of course, streamlabs.com/call to action podcast. I'll answer any of those first when they come in. We're going to start answering those as they come, and super chats as well. But that's not why we're here tonight, really. We're here to talk to somebody. We're here to talk to someone you can maybe see through. Not so dumb. I'm going to try to think of something dumb to say or fun to say. It didn't work out. So it didn't work out at all. So I'm just going to lay it out. I'm going to here, take the shot. We gotta plan these references way ahead of time because we could have come up with a Casper joke. With
anything.
Who you gonna call? Kind of a Ghostbuster thing. I don't know. Either way, we got Andres, the Ghost, Gallego.
Oh,
hey,
there he is.
You see me?
Where is he? You gotta come.
Hey, how's it going?
Good to see you, my friend. How are you?
Doing well. How about yourselves? How you guys been?
Oh, not too bad. Danielle?
Doing okay. Andres, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us on this Monday. Welcome back to the Call to Action Network. You were here earlier. If you missed that breakdown of Andres's match, please go back and watch that. But you were here hanging out today on this Monday with me and Paul. Welcome. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me back again. I always enjoy coming on and talking to you guys. And, I work nights, and it's a weird thing where my schedule is just so all over the place. But today is just one of those days that I can actually just chill and just talk. So it's a day off for me, which is great. And was called to commemorate a little bit of that. I don't know if you can see that, but it says chill right there.
Very nice.
little bit of condensation right there, but I love these glasses because you can just take chalk and just label which one's yours so that no one gets all of them mixed up. Yeah, it's
especially in this day and age, so no COVID spreading with that. I like that idea. There we go with that.
There you go.
I was going to say first super chat of the night for Movie Fanomi. Thank you so much, Movie Fanomi. Have fun tonight, everyone. On Show to Action Ghost Protocol. I almost want to go back and just change the title of the show because I like that so much. Andres is a great choice.
That's a great title. Thank you so much, Movie Fanomi. I love you, brother. Yeah, no, he's really cool, and we've had chats off and on and stuff like that, and just everybody that I come across in the community has just been so great and so supportive, and it's like, guys, I mean, I did lose the match.
Win or lose, that doesn't matter. That's how stylish you are doing it, and you lost in style. That's what I'll say. So there we go.
This was falling with style.
Exactly.
There you go.
I love that. I just watched that movie the other day. Andres, thank you so much again for coming on. We always like to ask the same question every time that we're here for the first question, but I'd like to know, Andres, what got you involved with the Schmoedown? How did you get started?
All right. Well, how I got started with the Schmoedown. I mean, do you want to go back to when I first started watching it?
Yeah. Let's go all in. Let's go deep dive.
Yes. All right. It was a little bit after I first arrived here in LA, actually, about a couple years ago. So I just happened to come across this. I just happened to come across the Schmoedown. I think it was in the second or third season or so. And I caught a couple of the matches here and there. And then afterwards, me and Eric started watching them together, and we started kind of going back and forth on them. And then, Eric kind of went off to another job, and then I kind of went off to another job as well too, and then evidently later on we ended up working at the same company again. And the thing that we did was that since we were both working the night shift, sometimes it would just get so completely dead that we would just pop in. And we would just pop in as many episodes of the Schmoedown as we possibly could. And we all had dry erase boards, so we were just playing along with them. And then so we were just, that was primarily how I started getting into the show, and how I started coming on board with that. But yeah, there was that. But if we're talking about how the process was in terms of getting drafted, I could go into more detail on that.
We will. I'll ask you first question though. Who was your favorite player back in the day? Like when do you gravitate towards anybody particularly?
Way back when the day. God, it seems like such a cliched answer, but I really liked Roka quite a bit back in the day. Like again, the minute you put on the V for Vendetta mask, I'm there.
Did you record any of these?
What was that?
Did you record any of these?
You're playing along.
Playing along. I'm sorry.
No. We were working over at a place where cameras and any equipment is strictly off limits. Just kind of still say, still technically right now I still work in the industry, so it's a lot of high security stuff that we're dealing with. But that was also one thing I did want to do now for the singles tournament, and I've actually been researching a little bit here and there to sort of play along with the rest of the singles tournament as well going forward. So as soon as I get my moving situation situated, I'm definitely going to start doing that, guys.
Sweet. I'll have to watch and see. Make sure we can get us in on that a little bit. So
yeah, absolutely.
So go ahead with the draft now. Let's go into that section of it.
Yeah. So how the draft came along was so Eric was in talks of getting drafted over on the Schmoedown. The details on how he got in that, I'm not exactly sure, but I just remember just one day Eric came up to me and he was just like, so there's talks about me joining the draft and stuff like that. So I kind of asked if you wanted to come along, and I was like, oh hell's yeah, I want to come along. But but again, it's not necessarily guaranteed or anything like that. And I know Eric is one of those people that when he believes in someone, I automatically trust him right off the get-go, and I know a lot of people do around him as well. So it was kind of like a big honor, and it was very it was very flattering of him to be like, hey, if what's called let's both get drafted, and hopefully we end up on the same team. That was always our dream, was to end up on teams together.
Wow.
Because like we complement each other so well in terms of some things and in terms of just other things I'm going to keep close to my chest right now. But but yeah, no, it's like we were just like in the office playing together. We were a dynamite team. We were great. Like that is just one thing that still to this day, if whenever I play again, or sometime next year or maybe even 2 years, who knows what happens, I would love to see Eric compete. And honestly, Eric is in like, if I was to call something, he'd be an amazing Inner Geekdom player.
Okay,
nice.
And the thing is, that's why we complement each other so well, is because he's great in Inner Geekdom. And I feel like my strongest suit is in singles. So I think the two, it would just be dynamite. So any managers watching for the draft next year, keep this in mind.
There you go. Yeah. Well, you got taken up by the dungeon, of course. Was there anybody else that thought about contacting you at all, or was Kaiser your one shot there?
Well, I will say I was talking to a couple of the managers. I'm going to keep them close to the chest right now, to see if any potential future things happen. Okay. But yeah, Kaiser was one of the first ones that how like sometimes when you what was like job interview syndrome, where you're just like, oh yes, I would be very great to come on board and do this, and oh yeah, I would love to do this. But the minute that Kaiser got in touch with me on Twitter, I don't know what it was, but immediately something just clicked in me where I was just like, listen, talk movie quotes. I love freaking movies. I live, breathe, and eat movies. But like honestly, if you're looking for a competitor, I'm about as strong as you can get with that type of stuff.
Nice.
And basically, I mean, I just dropped kind of the bull. I mean, like, just kind of just was myself and was just like, yeah, you know what? I freaking love movies. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm the strongest competitor out there. I mean, like, not like saying like, oh my God, I'm going to kill everybody. But I was like, listen, I live, breathe, and eat movies, as you guys can see all around. And I saw someone in the chat was just saying, oh my God, I want a Terminator skull. Yeah, this is one of my prized possessions over here. Like, Terminator 2 is my all-time favorite. Like, if Eric and Drew over at the Video Chronic Pop Culture Quizzes, if they was to do a Terminator 1, I mean, there's no point in me taking it because like honestly, there was actually one episode of the Schmoedown where I forget what it was. I think it was last season or so, but I remember just being like, okay, well, there was a question where it was like, what year did Kyle Reese come back from? And then immediately I went, oh, it was this. But the thing was that they actually got it wrong in the question. So I literally in the room, I challenged it. And then Eric was like, all right, well, where are your grounds for challenging it? Literally pulled up the movie on my iTunes account, showed it to him over at work. And I'm like, he says this year in number 1, but then in 2, he says, it's this year, if I recall, and it's the doctor who's basically saying it. Sorry, guys, it turned into all of a sudden just the Terminator talk, guys. So what was the question? Okay. How did I get drafted? Yeah.
I'm all here for Terminator talk. I'm all here for Terminator talk. You keep rolling. We're here.
but yeah. So kind of going back to the question again. So yeah, no, Eric was just I mean, that was the question is about the draft, right? I'm sorry. I just went off on a tangent. I just thought Terminator.
It's all good, man. It's all good.
Yeah. Oh, man.
See, we're all good.
Yes.
We're all good here. Yes. So that's great, though. No, that's great. So, okay. So what was your thought process when you signed the dotted line with Kaiser, so to speak? What was it for? Did you like go right away? What was going on? Did you have plans for you right away? Did you start training right away? Or was it a little bit of a while before they went forward with it?
Not necessarily that took a while. It was just a case of just seeing where I would fit and where I would debut, essentially, because they already had stuff in play, and also with the pandemic at the time, they were still waiting to see what they were going to do eventually. So it was just a case of just waiting to see where I would get put in, but automatically when we started ramping up the training sessions and all that other stuff, that's when I started coming on board, and that's when I started, just helping along everybody else in the dungeon, and just seeing what I can contribute here and there, and also, for Drew's matches as well too. She has a thing on her Patreon where you can actually watch her train. So that's a plug for her right there.
There you go. We love Drew. Jake can put that in the chat first, because Jake's our link person. He always gets great links.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are definitely fans of Video Drew up in here. Speaking of Video Drew, also.
And of Jake for getting us those links.
Yes, and big shout out to Jake. Thanks, for Jake. Doing the most all the time. So Jake, love you so much, bud. But speaking of Video Drew, you have been doing the Video Drew Nerd Chronic, the Video Chronic quizzes for a little bit of time now. So tell me about that a little bit. Well, how did you get started with it? How did you all start it? Did you start it with them, or did you just get involved after they started it?
No, I started getting involved with it after they kind of debuted on their own. In terms of like way back when in the day, that was actually just something that Eric would do to prep for himself for certain as a training tool more than anything else. And then that was something that and then came the news that he wasn't going to be able to compete, and that made me sad. And that was just something that we also did on our off time over at work, was that we just made all these quizzes, and then we would just shoot it at each other and just be like, hey, I got a Gremlins quiz over here. And I'm like, I'll take a Gremlins quiz. You know what I mean? So like it turned into a thing where for a couple of months we would just surprise each other with certain movies. So, did they announce that there's a Birds of Prey one coming out?
I guess so, but Kelsey wouldn't just say that because she gets very excited about Birds of Prey. So,
oh god, I love that movie so much. I think I mentioned it, and I think I mentioned it last week. But that was the movie that made me want to give up vegetarianism. As soon as I saw that sandwich, I was just like, "Oh, I need that." But that was something that that Eric was doing on the side for himself, and then they sort of brought it into the fold with Drew with her channel and stuff like that, and it just took off. And I mean, I will say that is sort of like that is sort of something that they kind of do with themselves, and I love to contribute here and there, but I try to respect them in terms of just like it's something that's theirs, and if they need any help with it, I'm more than happy to jump in. And so I've contributed a couple of quizzes for them as well. On Drew's birthday, I contributed the what is called the Eternal Sunshine quiz, which is a movie that she kind of doesn't like, but she scored the highest on it and she won it.
I remember that actually.
Yeah, and then Ben and Robert Robert Adams from Cinefanatics all took the Little Shop of Horrors quiz, which I wrote for them as well too. So yeah, oh my god, are you excited for that reboot?
That'll be interesting to see. I'll be interested to sort of see it. Okay. Yeah.
See, I heard the news about that, and I'm like, why? And then all of a sudden, when you hear the cast, I'm just like, oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah, I don't know the cast. I have no idea who the cast is.
It's I forget. Oh my god, I forget his name. Who's playing Audrey 2? But it's one of those that I immediately heard, and I'm like, he's gonna be.
No. I'm thinking, okay, oh my gosh. I said, because I was thinking of the guy who plays the fucking plant in Birds of Prey, and not in Birds of Prey, in the Harley Quinn animated show. What's
Frank?
his name? What's the guy who voices that character? Dang it, why can't I think of his name?
Now I'm blanking on that.
Me too. Anyways, okay.
Yes. Sorry, I get off on tangents all the time now.
That's okay. We got I'll tell you, we got Billy Porter going to be voicing the plant, Audrey 2.
Billy Porter. Oh.
You got Taron Egerton playing the lead. We got Scarlett Johansson possibly playing Seymour, or Audrey rather, and Chris Evans as the dentist, Steve Martin role. That's pretty fucking sweet, right? That's pretty. I gotta say that's pretty sweet.
I don't know, y'all. That's a solid cast right there. Billy Porter is Aubrey too.
Yeah.
Yo. I'm so for that.
Really quick, we did have a Streamlab earlier there. Brandon Buck, of course, love Brandon Buck, and he says this is for the Let's Get Danny a New Laptop Fund. So we'll earmark that donation, Buck, for that cause. Just so you know. So, but the video kind of quizzes are. I know I'm due to do one at some point with Robert. Robert has challenged me to do The Rock a long time ago, so I'm really ready to whip the floor with The Rock. And also, I believe at one point you were going to do the Crow one for me. I think that's still possibly in the works. So you're going to write one for me.
It's all I'll say is that it's written, and it's just waiting in the wings right now, man. You should get in touch with them.
I'm gonna have to see what I can do about that, because that's something that would make my night pretty much. Okay.
I will say, is having written that quiz, there's going to be a couple that will be like, holy crap! Like
deep cuts, all right. I love it. I have to actually watch it again. It's been a long time, but I watched it like so many times when I was younger. That was my movie of choice.
That soundtrack was so just like defining for me in terms of my love for music going forward. Like, and that was also me in my goth emo phase, right?
Didn't we all?
Influenced so many things. It influenced like superhero movies in general. I mean, really Spawn came after that. Batman, the animated series had some of that as well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that came from that. Even some Chris Nolan's Dark Knight stuff kind of came a little bit from The Crow, just a smidge. But I love all that stuff. Good stuff there. So what other have you other quizzes that you've written so far that haven't been used besides the crow, or anything you want to reveal that you're possibly?
I'm gonna give you just that one, the crow, right now.
Fair enough. I like keeping your chats. I like it. Well, heading back real quick to the Schmoedown thing, the singles and everything else. What about teams? Now, has there ever been talk of teams? I know you mentioned who you want to be with, but now that he's not playing, I mean, in the dungeon, there's a possibility you might be in the teams tournament with somebody potentially.
I mean, there's been talk about it. At least for now. I think they're locked in with something right now, which I'm not going to announce. But the minute I heard that, I'm like, oh, genius. Go and do it.
All right, fair enough.
So there's going to be great stuff coming forward from the dungeon for sure. But in terms of just going in a team with somebody else, there's always the possibility of look at the talent that we have over there. So I mean, there's at some point. I mean, my dream team on that would probably be, I would love to team up with Video Drew at some point. I'd love to team up with Zipper. I mean, come on, the dude knows his stuff. Oh, and yeah. In terms of just how much he's improved and how much he's taken the studying to heart, that's someone like him, and like I said on my match as well too. Smets and him, those are the kind of people that and even Video Drew as well too. Video Drew with her studying as well. She impressed me in multiple places where I'm like, holy crap, I completely forgot about that. So yeah, no, I think she's got some great stuff going forward. And yeah, and honestly, I couldn't be more prouder of my team going forward.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I mean, let's see. I don't want to ask that because you don't want to go anything forward, so.
But that's always the weird iffy part about these situations. So what Paul and I do whenever we bring Schmoedown personalities on, we understand the game, we love the game, and we also don't want to diminish the game in any sort of way. So we never like to poke and prod about studying techniques or really anything deep diving into your faction and stuff like that. So Andres, now that you're a Schmoedown personality in this big new world and going and guesting on different shows like ours, like the Synfanatics and other people and stuff like that, are you finding it finding this weird sort of time jump? Because I know that it's weird to shoot a match weeks ahead of time and then have to wait for those results to come out. And do you find it difficult to tiptoe around studying techniques and things that you feel like you shouldn't say to fans?
Not particularly difficult, because the thing is, since I work in the industry as well too, there's something called NDAs, which they're just if you say anything about this, we will have your firstborn child the minute he's born. It's it's one of those stuff, I mean, I'm horrible at keeping secrets, but if my ass is on the line, nope. No problem whatsoever. That's when self-preservation kicks in.
Fair enough. Well, let's talk a little bit about that. I just said you're signing the NDA, so let's talk about it. But what you think in the industry? Can you describe what you do in the industry?
Well, right now, I can talk about my various jobs that I've had in the industry for sure. Yeah, I was a production coordinator. No, not production coordinator. Sorry, I was a production coordinator for one of my friends' smaller short films over in Chicago. Which that was the big thing. Was when I first got started. I actually was living in Chicago for about 7 years or so, and in that time, there was a big boom in the industry where all these films were leaving LA and going over to Chicago because of the tax breaks. And all these TV shows were all popping up, and all these films and all these various different things all around town. So more than anything, I was a production assistant for a big bulk of my time when I was over in Chicago, and office PA, also just an intern over editorial suites as well too. Yeah, and in terms of right now, as it is, I'm a freelance video editor. I edit some stuff for a couple of buddies here and there, And the other thing I do too is, I'm basically just a content coordinator over at one particular place. I'm not going to say where, but it's just one of those things where we coordinate just posting up movie trailers, essentially.
Oh, sweet. Anything you can comment on, like what something you've been involved in?
I can't comment.
Anything
that's in terms of what I have right now. I can't comment. I'm gonna have to invoke the Nolan clause on that one.
Okay. Well, how about in the past? Something in the past that are no longer.
Oh yeah, in the past I absolutely can talk about. Probably my favorite story that I love talking about, and also I love just telling this one in particular in terms of people are just like, well, how you got started in the industry. I think I explained this on Cinefacts, but for everyone that's here, I'll tell you that story as well too. Sorry, guys. But so I was over in my first year of film school, and and then what ended up happening was I was suffering from really bad insomnia. It was also the first time I was away from my parents and away from my family and away from my best friends. Also, I used to live over in the East Coast, and I moved out to Chicago for school, and so it's like rebooting yourself entirely, which is exciting, and it's also really freaking scary at points. So I was having really bad insomnia at that point, and then so I just decided at like midnight or so I was just going to take a stroll over and just go over to 7-Eleven and pick up a drink, and then just maybe just walk around the city for a little bit. I was living in downtown, so it was relatively safe to go out at that point in night. But so, as I was walking out and about, I saw a friend of mine who was basically just tired and was just like, he looked like he was just flat out exhausted. He was just standing around, and there was a set all around him, and it was a closed set. And then so I just kind of walked over to him. I was like, "Hey man, how's it going? Blah blah blah. Oh my god, like what's it called? Like, can you believe that test is coming up in class?" And he's just like, "Dude, seriously, I'm just so exhausted right now." And I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, dude." But like, he's like, "Man, if I could, I wish I could leave. I just pulled like he was literally standing out there for like 16 hours, and he was just exhausted." So I literally just off the cuff just went, "Oh man, if there was a way I could, I would switch places with you, dude. I ain't got nothing. I'm not gonna go to sleep tonight." And he's like, "Oh my god, would you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, yeah, I'll do it." So he brings over his production coordinator, and then they just start going, "Oh, all right. So if you want to do this, you're gonna have to fill out this NDA. Just don't talk about it. It's been 10 years, and also, I mean, it's been 10 years since this happened, so I don't think I'm gonna get in trouble for telling this story." But basically, when I got over there, they were saying that you couldn't take any photos, you couldn't Facebook this, you couldn't MySpace this. That's a reference for all you people that was around 10 years ago. No MySpacing. This is before Twitter. But yeah. So the entire job was just, for the first night, was just stand in front of this tent and make sure no one goes in and out. Then so I look over at the paperwork, and it says Rory's First Kiss, which I'm like, okay, it's probably some independent movie or something like that. There were tons of that stuff all around town. Right. And, I just kind of figured this was probably like a night shoot for some odd reason or another. And so I'm just standing outside this tent, and I get informed to basically never go in the tent and just make sure no one goes in. Right. Only the people that are allowed to go in. And so I was out there for about an hour or so. And then a little later on the night, someone comes out of the tent, and it's a big guy dressed in black with a cowl. And then I realized it's the freaking Dark Knight shooting in Chicago. and they were shooting the scene where it was them in the parking garage.
Oh my god!
The I'm not wearing hockey pads moment.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, they were shooting that, and then immediately I'm just like, holy crap. Like, it's such an unbelievable thing, but like, honestly, it just, I mean, I have so many people to thank for at least that moment just even happening, just even like, just giving me a chance. I mean, I was an unproven PA at that point. I had gotten no credits in, just nothing had happened. Then all of a sudden, you just be nice and offer your services, and then people take you up on that sometimes. But wow. So that was the first thing I worked on, and then then I worked on a couple other things later on down the line, because the thing was that with Dark Knight, it led to a lot of other things in town, because it was just like, oh, this guy's reliable. He's on time. I love the Joker. Oh goodness. Sorry, I can't see the chat right now because I got my mic in front of it. I'm just gonna move it just a little bit. But yeah, how's that, guys? Is that okay?
That's good. That's good for us.
Oh yeah. So yeah. So I mean, like, I'm talking about this Dark Knight thing, and like, it's simultaneously, I mean, like, you have to look at both sides of it. It's simultaneously one of the biggest things that's ever happened in my life, but also on top of that, I mean, this is going to sound really strange to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's also probably one of the biggest failures of my life too.
Oh,
okay. Talk about that.
Because here's the thing: is that after a couple of days, after a couple of weeks of working on the set, they basically just said, oh, you know what, we're just going to we're going to hire you just only for a couple of weeks, and then we're going to see what we want to do later on. And then so they were nice enough to keep me on board for a little bit, and I got to see a whole bunch of the shooting stuff and stuff like that. I got to see them put the bus through the bank, which actually they converted a post office into a bank. Okay. So I was like, oh, that's freaking incredible. And like, I got to see them shooting the courthouse scene, which, oh, fun fact, if you go back into the movie, where there's a point where the judge finds the Joker card. Right. And then all of a sudden she just goes, and what do we find the defendant? Guilty. And then all of a sudden in the background, if you look at every single one of those extras, there's going to be a couple people in the background there flipping the camera off. because on the day they kept saying, because I was out there on the day, and then like, you just hear the production coordinator just go, all right, guys, remember, we need you to act riled up, and remember, we're going for a PG-13 here. Everybody just flipping the camera off at the other end. So yeah, no, if you got the 4K, it's so blatantly obvious right there. It's so great. But
nice.
But in terms of that being a failure for me, was they hired me to come on board for a little bit, and then what ended up happening was they basically said, hey, we liked your work, and we're wondering if you would like to stay throughout the entire shoot. Wow. Like this was back in April or May. And the thing was, I was still going to school at the time, and I wasn't firmly planted in Chicago at that point in time. I was going to head home for the summer and save up my money and then go right back over there again. Right. And honestly, looking back on it, it was just one of those things where I just should have said yes. I should have said yes, but I said no. And it was one of those things where he was like, oh no, perfectly understandable on all this other stuff. If something else comes along, we'll call you back for that. And we'll keep you in mind. We'll keep you in the books because you were very reliable. And also you didn't, I was one of the few people that didn't try to pull their cell phone and try to take photos, which people were getting fired on a daily basis for doing that.
Damn. I believe in that. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then the thing was that, I went back home in New England, and then I'm there working at this, it's a nice movie theater now, but back then it was really bad. But so I was working over at this really bad movie theater job, and then a buddy of mine texts me from the set, and he tells me this long story about how he met Heath Ledger on the set, and that he was skateboarding with him and all this other stuff. And then they kept telling me all these stories. And I'm like, oh my God. I wish I could have just offered my time to be there. And that was a big lesson for me that, you know what, honestly, you can't, if you're going to go into this industry, you can't go half-assed into it. You have to sort of plant a flag, and you have to stick with it. So that was a big lesson for me. And that was just, you know what? And then going forward from that, it's helped me in my career. It's helped me get more jobs out there as a PA until the bubble dried up over there in Chicago. But then, you know what? But more than anything, I got really great people, and I got really great stories from that. So that was a big learning experience for me in so many ways.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I checked some in the private chat, so I didn't know if you can say it or not, and you'd mentioned it to me in like a PM. So I wanted to touch base with you real quick on that. You want to touch more about? Can you touch more base on that, all that stuff as well, or
about which one? In
the private chat, either or. Well, I put two things in the private chat for you.
And if not,
on the private chat here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I can definitely talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. So go further into that. You work on Transformers.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about Twitter, and I'm like, I don't do anything on Twitter. Yeah, so this is how we do things, guys. But yeah, no, and then later on, after all that stuff was done on Dark Knight, I got to do a day or two for reshoots for Wanted, because that was coming over to Chicago as well too for exteriors, and then probably one of the biggest things that I worked on as well too was Transformers, the third one, Dark of the Moon.
Yes, Dark of the Moon.
Nice.
Yeah, Dark of the Moon, and that one in particular was one of the most exhausting experiences I've had on the set. I mean, as you could probably tell, you know. Yeah, and then also my entire job on that was to coordinate, was to make sure people didn't get, or like random pedestrians wouldn't get into the middle of the shots during. It was basically locking down sets. It was basically locking down people. And keep in mind, we were shooting in downtown Chicago in broad daylight in the middle of the summer. And my station was right outside of the train station that would get hundreds of people commuting in at one point in time. And so literally, oh my God, that still gives me nightmares to this day. Is like hundreds of these people all coming out and then being like, why can't I cross the street? Why can't I cross the street? And I'm like, because we're shooting a movie. We're shooting a movie right here. Oh yeah, what movie? Well, and then you're allowed to say what it is. Okay. Because like honestly, I was wearing a cap that said Transformers. So
it's not Transformers.
It's definitely not.
And then shockingly enough, 90% of the time, whenever you would say it was that, all they would ask is, "Can we sit here and just watch it?" I was like, "Oh yeah, absolutely." What's it called? If you just stand right here, there's going to be a massive explosion right behind me. So yeah, there's only been a couple of times where we got what we refer to in the PA industry as a classic, which is someone that just says F you and then just decides they're going to run down through the middle of the shot. Because we have bankers and we have all these other people that are just like, oh no, my job is right down the street over there. I need to be there in 15 minutes. Otherwise something's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm sorry, sir, but for your safety, you cannot go through. And then they just bum rush you. And then they start running in the middle of the shot right before they're supposed to set off pyrotechnics. And then you just yell on the radio, hey, we got a classic running down Wabash. So yeah, it's
gosh, a classic.
And then immediately as soon as you call out like, oh, someone's run down, like a ninja, a cop just appears out of nowhere and just materializes and takes that person away and just goes, nope, you're not going down this right now. Just wait.
We paid a lot of money for this set. You don't get to go.
Oh yeah, no. It's yeah, no. So there was that. I did a little bit of script coverage for an independent company over there. Basically, I think they were involved with Summit Pictures at that point in time. But it was just sitting around. But that was one of my favorite jobs because it was just sitting around and you just read a whole bunch of scripts. But the problem is that what you find when you're doing coverage is that 60% of the scripts, like everyone keeps going like, well, you know what? There's not an original idea out there in Hollywood. It's like, no, the majority of things that I read were all originals. The only problem is that the only thing studios are interested in is IP based. They're interested in something that they can sequelize. They're interested in something that with a known property or something that an actor is attached to. And, you know, again, a lot of the choices that these producers make is all based on fear. And it's all, you know, I mean, it's kind of disheartening when people just go, oh, there's not an original idea. It's like, no, there's plenty of them. There's so many original ideas out there. The only problem is, can you sell them? And that's why you get the remake of RoboCop. That's why you get the remake of this film and this film. And, you know, yeah. And I mean, like, how long after the Ready or Not guys, which that movie is freaking fantastic. Ready or Not? It's freaking fantastic. But how long was it until they got cored into doing a remake, and they're doing the Scream remake, which I'm looking forward to that. But at the same time, if it's either the choice between a remake or seeing something new from them, I would want to see something new every time, because you never know. I mean, can you imagine what Jordan Peele would have been had he decided to do a remake of something instead of doing Us?
Right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting my long diatribe of this.
No, I'm loving it.
This is me after I've had a couple of drinks. I'm just sitting by. I'm like, man, can you imagine what's going on out there?
This is actually fascinating stuff, and I agree with you 110%. I love it. Did you ever read any script that like we would know? Anything that got made that we would know about?
Well, it was in production at the time, so I think it was in production at the time, and it already got picked up. But it was just, I remember reading the script for Limitless and just being like, "Oh, this is going to be great."
Oh, sweet! Yeah, I like that movie actually.
Yeah, and the thing that was so disheartening about it was, I mean, I'd seen somewhere, and it's been out there because the writer has said this before, but going back to Dark Knight, Heath Ledger was originally attached to it.
Really?
And yeah, and can you imagine what Limitless would have been like with Heath Ledger involved? That would have been so great.
Wow, that's amazing. Think about.
I mean, I love Bradley Cooper, but that's a great alternate universe.
Yeah, no, I think Heath Ledger has more depth into that. Like he's more like something where Cooper's more of a leading man kind of guy. Heath Ledger could get a little down and dirty, which I think that film would have been interesting to see.
Oh yeah, especially if you've seen Candy, his Australian film. Like he would have totally nailed that NZT high right there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, Daddy, you were saying something?
No, I was just gonna ask: is there a remake of anything that you would be interested in seeing?
Ooh, like
live action, comic book adaptation, anything of that sort. Is there anything specific that you would be positive to be like, yeah, I'd totally be down for that? If not, it's totally fine.
I mean, I'm just going to tell you one right off the top of my head that I wish could get remade in terms of just because we're involved in this big Stephen King renaissance in the past couple of years. I would say probably the one remake I would love to see someone tackle, and it just got announced not too long ago as well too, so that's kind of why it's in my head. But Tommyknockers, I would love to see that remade. Yeah.
That's a strange one. That got had like a TV movie or something.
It got a very weird TV movie, but I mean, trying to adapt that story, that's. Oh, yep. Anything? No. Why remake anything with Ed Harris? Harris did it perfectly the first time.
You remake it and add Ed Harris to it. That's what it is.
Okay. All right. Adding anything with Ed Harris. All right. Tommyknockers starring Ed Harris. Ed Harris is the father?
Like,
I love it. I'm all in it. So
imagine Ed Harris in like a Hunger Games movie. Like,
I could do that. I could put Ed Harris on.
Oh my God. He'd be great as what's his name? Sutherland's character.
Donald Sutherland character. Yeah, I can't remember. Snow or whatever his name is.
No, that's
President Snow.
Okay, then yes, absolutely. He should have been Snow. That would have been amazing.
But in terms of that, and then me and Eric sort of had a talk about this as well too, and then it actually happened. And I was happy with the remake, and then I was sort of disappointed on it as well too. Was the Pet Sematary remake?
Yeah, I had such high hopes for that. I saw the trailer. I was like, oh, this could be good.
I really wanted to like it. I genuinely wanted to enjoy it. And I did. For the most part, I did. But I was very upset that the trailer spoiled it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the one change they did do. The change, it seemed like almost they did it for like just to do it. I mean, like the switch is like, it was like, why was it?
I think that it could have been executed well if it wouldn't have been like. That's such a big change for the story, so I feel like it shouldn't have been spoiled. I feel like maybe they spoiled it in the trailer just to be safe for people going into it, so they didn't have these expectations of Cage being the one, whatever. But still, I feel like that would have been a good thing to hold back. Sorry for all pounding on my desk because that's how much.
I know you're a Stephen King fan too, so.
I'm also not a fan of Jason Clarke. I've never been a big fan. I've never been a big fan of Jason Clarke. I don't know why.
I like Jason Clarke in certain roles, but him as Lewis kind of was a little kind of off for me. But I loved him in the Planet of the Apes film. I thought
he was good in that.
I think
I'll give you that.
is kind of creepy to me, and this is just like, this could just be like my weird internalization of whatever, but like for whatever reason, like anything that he's in, like he just comes off as this extremely creepy guy, and he's an uncomfortable actor for me to watch, and that's just me personally. I have no idea what it is about him specifically.
Oh yeah,
that's what helped Pet Sematary be so eerie for me. Was like I had to sit there and watch this actor be this character, a character that I love and enjoy. So it was kind of like, that's what made it cringy also.
Yeah, and there was in like I remember having discussions with Eric about this, because right when I first moved out to LA, I reread my first edition of the book, and that was actually oddly enough the thing that you just read at night just to kind of be like, I miss home, I miss New England. Oh my God.
I love that.
Chicago edition.
I love that.
Chicago. You can just imagine that right there. Oh, goodness.
Well, here we are. I believe it's time we enter my favorite part of the show.
Part of the show.
Oh, wait, yours too? Okay. I didn't want to speak. I didn't want to speak for you, so you know. This or that. If you've watched the show before, you know what this is. This is where I get to give our guest Andres a option A or option B. He can choose either one he wants. He can ask for clarification if he'd like. He can make his own clarification. He can expand as much as he wants, or he can give short answers. You in the chat, you can throw some things in there if you'd like to. I might throw them out there. But some are going to be written for him specifically. Some are just kind of ones I've asked a few times here and there. And the first one I'm always going to ask, and you watched this before, you know what the first one's going to ask, and this actually means something. I'll let you know later why it means something.
We will. Yay!
Yeah, but,
I'm so excited about that. Okay.
Are you, my friend, are you team Guy or are you team Traitor?
There's only one right answer.
Ooh.
They have a match coming up and everything, so it's definitely a timely question.
It's a very timely question.
Never been on you, sir. Like this timely question has never had that much pressure on any other guest.
Oh man, God! But all right. I'm gonna say Guy.
You have answered correctly.
Okay. I just wanted to see on the chat just they were going, oh my God, he's about to say traitor.
I would have had to end the interview early, but that's okay. I'm so glad you answered correctly. I can still talk to you more because I have a lot more questions to ask. So. We have a winner. I salute you. All right. How about any more? Do you prefer whiskey or do you prefer beer?
Wait,
whiskey. Absolutely whiskey.
Okay, good. That's a good one.
Once again, you have chosen.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm just saying because I do like beer, but it takes a lot more for me to feel something with beer as opposed to whiskey, where it's just like, ooh, great, I feel this, and I don't feel like I'm going to inflate like a balloon and float up to the top of the freaking Wonka factory and have to make my way down.
I love that. I love the reference. So I stopped drinking. Like I was just talking to Paul about this.
True.
And all of July was basically a dry month for me, and I'm very proud of myself. But I drank beer a couple of times, but last week I drank like a good amount of Crown. Didn't feel anything, and I felt so bad about it because I didn't feel anything, but also it's just Canadian whiskey, so it's not the same.
Oh, that's your problem.
Oh, hey.
My point. That's my point. Okay, Paul, continue.
Continuing. All right. I want to come clean. I did ask Eric for a few choices to throw out there.
All right.
I won't say which ones are which, but there's going to be a few sprinkled in there. I will start with this one from him. The Terminator franchise or the Friday the 13th franchise?
Ooh, that I know is definitely him. I just moved, and I know I have my what's called my Terminator skull right there. But also, I'm a big Friday guy myself, man. I love Jason, and eventually, really soon, I'm hoping to do a live stream of the Friday the 13th game on my Twitch channel because I'm just like, honestly, that's one of those games that I freaking love so much. And some of my buddies would just come over and just basically just watch me play as Jason because they're just like, oh, it's freaking hysterical. You're like you're just vicious. Like, honestly, like you should just stream this. This is before they realized you could actually Twitch this. So yeah, no. So I'm just gonna do that eventually. I have all the stuff set up. I have an Avengers stream on there that I'm hoping to. Well, I'm hoping to finish up the Avengers beta as well too, and then as soon as I get situated out here. But anyway, to answer the question. Oh man! See, the thing is, there are more Friday the 13th movies, but there's only maybe about 2 of them that I'll say are actually great. Like, sorry, like not necessarily like great, like in terms of like, oh, it's high art, but it's like they're so much fun to watch. Like,
which 2? Just
which 2?
Yeah, because I'm curious. That's a load of questions.
Genesis Galileo. Oh goodness. Well, actually, I said 2, and there's actually a lot of them. I think Friday the 13th. I think Friday the 15th. No, I think Friday the 13th. Final Chapter is just an all around, just a great horror film in general. It's the one where I think they just went, you know what, we need to get all our ducks in a row, and we need to make this as great as we possibly can. But Final Chapter is probably the best one that's made. But honestly, the ones I go back to and I watch over and over again is either Part 6, which is Jason Lives. I mean, come on, that is such a tongue-in-cheek movie, and that like I've heard Kevin Williamson actually said that Jason Lives is actually what inspired him to write Scream because there's so many jokes in there.
It knew what it was. It knew what it wanted to be. It was like, we're going to be a little silly with it, like over the top with it. And it makes sense now. You watch it again. It's so different from the previous 5 at that point, but it's such a good film for that reason.
I've never heard that before, but like that, I'm not the biggest horror person. I know like I can scuba into, I can snorkel into horror. I can't scuba dive into horror, but like, I know that much at least. And like, oh, that makes me feel so good.
Oh no, like that one I would absolutely recommend like you check that out. Like that one is less scary and it's more just a really fun time. And the way they get rid of Jason by the very end, it's fantastic.
It is really good.
But yeah, there's that one, and 7 is probably also one of my favorites too. It's Jason versus the Telekinetic.
Yeah, just versus the X-Men basically.
Yeah. And then going forward, Jason X, I absolutely love, which you and me were talking about that a little earlier. That Jason X was actually my first Jason movie that I've watched, actually. And then me loving that movie, I loved it when I was a kid, guys. All right. And then I went back and then I went back to Blockbuster every week for almost 3 months, rented a Friday the 13th movie, brought it back, and just watched them. So yeah, and then what's called, Jake said Freddy versus Jason. Yeah, Freddy versus Jason. You and me, we talked about this. Freddy versus Jason is the MCU before the MCU. They made how many movies count? Like there's almost 12 movies in the Friday the 13th franchise, and there's 10 movies in the Nightmare franchise as well too. They made 22 films worth of stuff work in one film, and I absolutely love Freddy versus Jason.
It's a great superhero film.
What movie came out first? Did Freddy versus Jason or Jason X, Jason 10 come out first?
It was Freddy versus Jason. No, sorry. Jason X came out first, and then Freddy versus Jason came out the next year.
So I saw Jason X in the theaters, and that movie absolutely, when Freddy versus Jason came out, made me feel like I had to go. I know that I for sure saw both of them in the movie theaters, and the first one, whichever one I saw first, made me want to go see the other one inside of theaters. And I don't go and watch horror movies in theaters because I'm a big whip, so I don't do it. But especially back then when those movies came out, absolutely not. You couldn't get me into a horror movie. The first horror movie that I remember watching in theaters this is a long time ago. I Know What You Did Last Summer, but the first movie that I can remember watching as an adult in 3D was like My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah, Jensen Ackles, right?
And
it was so weird because like literally sorry.
That was the only reason why I went to go watch it, because it was in 3D. That's it.
Oh, because it was in 3D. Oh God, yeah. No, but that was also back before 3D like had the big boom as well too. Like that was like right when it was about to start up.
Yep.
But yeah, it was weird because I was watching Supernatural at the time, and in freaking 1 month in January, Jensen Ackles is in My Bloody Valentine, and then literally 2 months later, a Friday the 13th remake starring Jared Padalecki was in there, and I'm like, huh, what's going on here? Yeah. Basically. Oh yeah, no, totally. But oh my God, but I've gone on so long about Jason. Okay, so the question was the Terminator franchise or the Friday franchise. God. Oh man. See, the thing is that with, again, Friday, a couple of great films, but with the Terminator franchise, you have two of the best sci-fi movies ever made.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, I'm gonna go Terminator. Although I will say Terminator 1, fantastic. I don't care what video Drew's saying on Twitter. That is a fantastic movie.
Yeah, I saw that as a hot take. I'm like, that's not accurate.
Yeah, I'm like, no, this has to be a joke. But yeah, and then Terminator 2 is my all-time favorite movie, hands down. It's not necessarily one that I'm like, oh my God, it's like put up against this again. Like, no, there's far better movies, but for me, there's an emotional attachment with Terminator, and that was also one of the first movies I recall seeing when I was a kid as well. So Terminator 2 is my all-time favorite, and Terminator 3, that is kind of just whatever, and whatever film. Then Salvation, that was
you know what? I'm interject real quick, because that was actually going to be one of my answers to that, because I initially had Terminator 1 versus Terminator 2, but you already answered that. So I was going to say instead, I was audibling. But so before you go any further, Terminator 3 or Terminator Dark Fate?
Oh, Dark Fate.
Dark Fate. Okay.
Absolutely Dark Fate. I mean, Terminator 3 is a movie that only gets remembered because of the ending, because of the fact that we lose.
Yeah.
And that's what everybody keeps going, yeah, but Judgment Day comes. Yeah, but we don't get Judgment Day. It's like literally like the little hint, and then boom, it's gone. I mean, it's just a carbon copy of the first one. I mean, it's just a carbon copy of the second one, but I mean, it was just meh for me. But Dark Fate, I kind of felt like they actually tried something a little different with it. And, yeah, I kind of feel like they tried to do something a little interesting with it, where, they kill off John in the very beginning, which, again, not necessarily the biggest fan of that, but it was something that we have to go forward from John Connor. We have to go forward from that, and we have to try something different.
I will agree with you and disagree with you. I like the idea that they did John Connor, but at the same time, the end of the movie itself ended up being another carbon copy. I feel we got to get rid of the idea of where you have to send somebody back in time to protect somebody, and send somebody else to kill somebody. And that seems to be a tired thing. I actually appreciated what Genesis tried to do, even though it wasn't very successful. But it brought it forward to the war, and that was a totally different style of Terminator movie. And I kind of liked the ambition there. Yeah, it definitely felt flat. But the idea, at least it wasn't a carbon copy comparatively, I thought. But that's
I will give you that one. But I mean, I will say Genesis is the first Terminator movie I fell asleep in the theater.
Ooh, okay.
I remember being so excited for Genesis. I'm like, I don't care. It's a Terminator movie. It's just it's something just for me. And then literally, I remember just about 45 minutes in, I remember being like, oh my God, I can't believe I just fell asleep. Oh man, and I had to go see it the next day just to sort of fill in the blanks right there.
You know what? I take that back. I totally misspoke. My Terminators, not Genesis. Salvation is what I was talking about. Salvation did something different. Genesis was a piece of crap. Salvation,
yes, tried
to do something a little different, bring it to the war. I just got my titles mixed up. But yeah, Salvation, at least you saw the war at different angles their way.
Yes, I'm in agreement with you on Salvation on that one. I think Salvation is a better Terminator movie than Genesis, because they were just crap. Yeah, I'm sorry, but when you I like what's his name, Jai Courtney, when he's in certain roles, when not necessarily some of the studio stuff, but a lot of his indie stuff has been really, really, really good. Like there was the one movie that he was promoting on Collider, and go check out that Christian Harloff interview as well too. So great. But yeah, so the independent stuff that he's in is so strong, and then just it's just so bad. I'm seeing on the chat right here, Salvation is underrated.
I can't believe I said that for so long. Was saying Genesis, and everybody probably think I'm an idiot because Genesis is crap. But that's all right. That's all right. All right. Okay, moving forward. Now we got a couple more here. If you were to do an exhibition match, would you want to do a horror exhibition or a movie release date exhibition?
Ooh.
Is that Eric?
You're knowing the Eric ones, aren't you? You do know.
Yeah, that's an Eric one. That's an Eric one.
You should play spot the Eric one. So far, you're 2 for 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, that's tough. That is really tough because I'm interested in both a lot. Like, I will say, in terms of, oh man, I can't pick. I really can't pick between the two. I love horror, but at the same time, I know people are just like, wait, movie release dates, you'd actually take that? I'm like, no, movie release dates is something that is very personal to me because I'm just like, oh, well, you tell me a certain movie and I'm just like, oh, what was I doing at that point in time? Oh, yeah. What's called Spider-Man 2, 2004. Yeah. July 2nd, 2004. Because I remember the release date got switched up 4 times and now they finally released it in July. Oh, no. What happened? They bumped it up to June 30th because I remember like there's just so many things that go in my head that movie release dates for me is just sort of like a fun puzzle that always interests me. And horror is just something that it just always felt personal to me because I was always afraid of horror films when I was growing up, actually. And then it just seemed like a magic trick. Like the moment I started watching horror films, it was just like me sort of challenging myself. It's like, all right, let's sit down. Let's try to watch something pretty extreme. And then by the time I was 17, I was in the theater by myself watching Hostel Part 1 and just being like, all right, that was fine.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't mean to like impose on anything, but like you don't have to give an exact year if you don't want to, but like around roughly like what decade were you born in? Were you born in the 80s?
I was born in the 80s, yeah.
Were you born early or late 80s?
Late.
Okay. I'm just trying to gauge like horror references and like where that is. Okay, keep going, Paul.
First, real quick, Ferris Madonna in chat. He also sent us a nice Streamlab about 15 minutes ago.
Ooh, nice.
Love Ferris, and he just says hello. Ferris.
Well, hello to you too, sir.
Ferris. Love Ferris Madonna. Okay. How about this one? How about Ready or Not or Happy Death Day?
Ooh.
Ready or Not, absolutely.
I think so too.
So you we're not a big fan of Happy Death Day? I'm curious.
No. I was actually a fan of Happy Death Day, but in terms of just something that just felt like just such a fresh voice in horror, absolutely Ready or Not. Like Ready or Not was one of those that I had missed in theaters. And I remember me and my ex, we were both watching horror movies right before the new year. And then she was like, oh my God, I can't believe you've never seen Ready or Not. Like, this is totally your type of film. And I'm like, well, I already got my top 10 already set in right there. I think I'm going to be fine. And then literally we watched it that night, literally a couple hours before midnight on New Year. And then I'm like, yep, it's all the way at number 2. it jumped up all the way from like just being like, okay, it's kind of there. And then I'm like, yep, nope, it's my second favorite movie of the year. It's done.
Fair enough. I definitely enjoyed it very much. It gave me, it didn't give me full Cabin of the Woods vibes, but it did give me a little bit of it, and I enjoyed that.
Oh yeah, and the writing on every one of those characters was so fresh. I mean, it's just so good.
Like you go in there feeling like there's more backstory to each of these characters, but in a way that doesn't feel like you were cheated out of those stories. In a way that's like, I understand who these characters are. It'd be awesome if I got a little bit more detail about these characters, but overall, I liked Ready or Not. Okay.
Yeah, it was great.
I wonder if I did that. I wanted to see. I have to show you something. I know at one point Jarvie and I did Ready or Not versus Happy Death Day on Class Action, but I don't know if it was one we actually put out or not. It might be but we did like 5 or 6 of them before we actually went live. So I'll have to find the tape on that for you because I think you'd be interested in watching that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right. Next we got what are you more anticipating, Dune or Tenet?
Can I get a JT on that?
Are you more anticipating Dune or Tenet? I can't make it any longer. So,
which one's the first one again? I'm sorry.
Dune.
Dune. I was like, for some reason it was coming off. I was just like, it kind of sounds like Juno. I'm like, the movie came out 12 years ago. Hey, Robert, how's it going, buddy? Guys, check out Cinefanatics. Great people. Really great content that they're putting out every week. Definitely check them out, and also check them out when they're on the Video Chronic Pop Culture Quiz, along with these fine people right here as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely for me, Dune.
Yeah. Good.
Dune. No question about it. I was actually just watching the David Lynch film because I was trying to force myself to watch it because still to this day I haven't finished it. Ooh. I'm a big fan of the book, and I love just the sci-fi elements that were in it. It was one of those things where I took a science fiction class in college. God, I'm just gonna put a plug over here. Go to Columbia College Chicago or Columbia College LA. Really, it's basically just a geeks college. Like, seriously, like they have stuff where it's like, oh, here's a class on The Simpsons. Oh, here's a class on young adult novels. Here's also a class on Shakespeare exclusively, and then here's also the sci-fi and horror class where all you're gonna do every week is just sit down and watch a horror film. Like. one of the best classes. And also I want to give out a shout out to Lindsay Romaine, who writes for Nerdist. Her and I, we just really bonded in Chicago, and like it was during the horror and the undead class. We just kind of met each other because we were in the same dormitory, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh hey, how's it going? Oh wait, you got the horror class as well too. It's just so much fun at that school. So
a specific class like that, like a specific class about movies or just like anything like that, I would absolutely enjoy taking that information.
So in the sci-fi class, that was actually the first thing that that was one of the first things that we did was we read a whole ton of these novels, and we basically they were like, okay, well, for anybody that hasn't seen the Dune movie, like, this is going to be something special for you because you're going to go into this fresh. And I remember just reading that book, and then it was one of the first books that I read, and immediately I felt the need to reread it again because I felt like it was so much smarter than me.
Was that the first time you had read the book?
Yeah, it was. I read the book for the first time in 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, and then but for this movie, I mean, come on. Timothy Chalamet, Denis Villeneuve.
Great cast.
Yeah, seriously.
So many people.
Oh my gosh, I'm dying.
And
it's a brand new vision of that book, and that book is so just dense in itself that it under Villeneuve, I had so many trepidations about Blade Runner 2049, and he freaking blew them all away. So he can do no wrong in my eyes. He's every single thing that he's put out, I've loved. So absolutely, it's gonna. I'm still looking forward to Tenet, absolutely, but Tenet, I would say, is one of those that it feels very much like we're getting Inception 2.0.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. People even suggested that it's possibly related to the world because of how close it felt. Although they deny it, of course, but he's going to deny it if it's either way. But no, you're right though. But I'm looking forward to doing. Villeneuve has been my current favorite living director for exactly the same reason ever since his first films that came out. I went back and watched them. It's still not a bad movie. I still haven't seen a bad movie from him. So.
There's a lot of stuff that I would like to say about the Dune movie. Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors of this age. Alejandro Jodorowsky is one of my all-time favorite people on this entire planet. And if you all ever get an opportunity to watch the documentary Alejandro Jodorowsky's Dune, definitely watch that because that's a huge inspiration for what Dune could have been. And I don't want to apply any of that to Denis' Dune because I think Denis is going to do a completely different Dune than what Jodorowsky was envisioning with it. And I really don't want to deep dive into this because this could definitely turn into a Danny rant. But my thing with my whole thing with like Dune, like I want as many adaptations of Dune. This happens from time to time. I want as many adaptations of Dune as we possibly can get, just simply because I would like for Dune to be available to a lot of other people. It's a wonderful story. It's a wonderful book. And I feel like that whole series in general is something that I would love. Game of Thrones already was a TV show. There's no way that we're going to be able to get that back and to get that experience again as a movie. But Dune, we can do that with Dune. So watch this Dune. Go watch that documentary with Alejandro Jodorowsky. Go read the book. There's more than one book. It's an entire series, so please go and do that. If you would like something with me talking about Dune, then let me know, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to wrap it up in these 5 seconds.
Yes. Boom. And just to go with you on that, I want to see you talk about Dune. Absolutely. And if you need someone to come in and talk about Dune,
we'll definitely keep you on the list there.
Yeah.
Danny,
there we go.
And also, Day's stats are. I saw that. That was great. Weston's thing. It's like, who complains about Danny? Right? That was amazing. I could literally hear you go on. You know what? Give her a JT. Give her a repeat, man.
Another minute.
Yeah, my that whole thing is like let more people read Dune. Let everyone read Dune as much. Like, please read that. But Frank Herbert's book is amazing, and it'll get you into sci-fi. Please read sci-fi because it's where we need to be, so we can be aware of the future. That's it. Sorry.
All right, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Make a Patreon. How about that?
You got yourself an extra time. I love it. I love how you snuck in the extra time. I love it. Okay, got our next one here. How about Freddy?
All right, Paul.
Kruger or Michael Myers?
Freddy Krueger, absolutely.
I was going to say Freddy versus Jason, but I think you already answered that in a way by having Freddy.
Jason. What's called? I know Jason is the least interesting out of the two, but for me, he just reminds me. I don't know. There's just something about when horror movies came out in my particular time in life, and I don't know. I've always just loved the camper movies, and also the other thing too. If you want to see how much I love Friday the 13th, I got this when I was over in New Jersey.
Oh, that's sweet. That is nice.
Yep. So yeah, I'm all about Friday the 13th, guys. But between Freddy and Michael Myers, I think Freddy Krueger definitely has the more interesting of the two films. I love Michael Myers. I'm looking forward. I really liked Halloween 2018, but honestly, the trailer, the new for Halloween Kills, kind of made me laugh a little bit because it's just like, don't do it, don't do your jobs. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, yeah, you set a house on fire. There's going to be first responders coming down. What are you talking about, Lori? And also, Lori, why didn't you shut off the fire alarm so that no one would show up?
Good question.
I'm sorry. This is also going to turn into a rant of mine as well too. Like, everyone's so excited for it, and I'm like, yeah. I'll still check it out and I'll still give it a chance, absolutely. But for me, Freddy Krueger absolutely is the most interesting one out of the bunch. In terms of his films are more innovative. The dreams are definitely more of a spectacle than the silent circular stalking from house to house. Right. Also, check out killerhorrorcritic.com. I actually wrote a retrospective for the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Did you really? Okay,
I do agree with you about the Freddy and Jason thing. So I've said this story once somewhere, I can't remember where, but about how for the longest time growing up, I had a recurring nightmare, and it was basically the boiler room scene from Friday the 13th, like where he's like with, I can't remember what character it is. It's not a boiler room, but that's just how I picture it inside of my brain. But it was, anyways, the nightmare that I had was the exact scene from Friday the 13th. and I didn't realize it until I watched it again as an adult. Like, oh, that's the recurring nightmare that I have. Probably traumatized as a child when I watched this movie.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those things where Freddy Krueger is just such an indelible bad guy that if you guys got time for a quick story real quick. So back over in Chicago, one of my exes had never seen Nightmare on Elm Street, and she loves horror, and I'm just like, oh, let's sit down, let's watch Nightmare on Elm Street. So we get through the entire movie, and she was totally fine. She's like, oh, well, you know what, that was fine, you know, Johnny Depp, that was really cute, but some of the effects are pretty cheesy and stuff like that. And then about 3 a.m, I got a call from her, basically just going, I can't sleep, and I'm like, you got your first Freddy dream.
That's awesome.
100%. So I grew up Catholic also. And I don't know if this is for anyone else who either grew up religious or Catholic specifically, but that chant, that 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you chant, for whatever reason, like there's a specific part in there that's like the 5, 6, grab your crucifix. And like that whole thing always kind of stuck with me. Maybe that's really what it was that really stuck with me, but that specific, like, I can't say that whole. I'm not gonna sleep for another week now, so thank you.
Oh goodness. Oh, and what's called, and Robert Adams on the chat is saying his review for Nightmare on Elm Street. For me, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you read my review, it kind of goes into the reasons why it doesn't work, but it doesn't necessarily crap on the film. It just it's a dissertation on what they got wrong and what they could get right potentially in the future. So it's from everybody that has read it, they've told me that they found it interesting in particular. But yeah, I don't like writing reviews where I'm just like, this movie's crap because it's crap. I'm like, well, this doesn't work for me because of this, and you have to break it down because otherwise you're just going to seem like a freaking troll.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. I totally get that. I don't know. I have to say, I can give you a positive. I actually like Jackie Earle Haley. I think he's a great actor, and I think he could do well in that role. He's got great potential in that role. But I grew up as a Freddy guy. I got to tell you, like, that's my horror was a nightmare. It's Freddy Krueger. So in the Freddy vs. Jason thing, I love Jason, but Freddy was always my boy. Partially, partially because I love V, and Robert Englund was in both V, the side of the TV series, and different characters. That's why I loved Robert Englund. So that was part of the reason why. But yeah, that was great.
I'm so sorry. I do have to bring this up. Starger, thank you so much for
Robert Adams, that right there. That's where it is.
There you go. But really quickly, also, Starger, thank you so much for saying this. What is the scariest room you don't want to be in? Exorcist, or the boiler room scene, or trying to eat a mayonnaise grilled sandwich? Starger,
mayonnaise grilled cheese sandwich.
Okay, so Andres.
Give the call.
All right. Well, between the both of those, I mean, honestly, it would probably be the boiler room.
I would prefer to be in the boiler room over a mayonnaise grilled cheese sandwich. 100%. The background behind that is it's you're not putting mayonnaise in your grilled cheese sandwich. You're using mayonnaise to fry.
Instead of butter.
So instead of using butter on the outsides, you're putting mayonnaise on the outsides.
Are you listening, Alex? Are you listening?
Exactly. Alex and I have had this conversation, and Lucas specifically also, because Lucas is in on this fight. But I'm not a man. I do not like mayonnaise. I don't like mayonnaise. So
you see, the thing is, I like mayonnaise, but I'm very picky about it. Like, I just had a cheeseburger earlier today, and there was like mayonnaise kind of inside it when it was mixed in with like the cheese and all this other stuff. It just kind of had like a weird taste to it. Like again, I love mayonnaise by itself, but yeah, it's just it's not something that I add to everything. Like, I have to pick and choose with certain things. But yeah, no. But yeah, the boiler room I'd probably take.
There you go.
She could be.
Sorry, I think we both clicked on things.
I'm saying Alex is calling you right now. Just
I know, right? I'm gonna get it.
There's the specific review from Andres. Robert, I was went a little step further because I'm busy on the show, so Robert did it for me. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. So click on that and we'll find that.
Yeah, we love Robert.
I love Robert. Robert's a great guy. I will wipe the floor with him in the Rock video chronic quiz, but I like him anyway.
Ooh, shots called, shots fired.
Yeah, I don't know how, but I will try.
All right, continuing on, we got if you had won your match against Adam Collins, would you have rather face Dan Murrell or John Roca?
Ooh,
Murrell.
Murrell.
I would say Murrell because I don't want Roca to hate me. Like I don't know. I feel like against Roca, if I would have lost against him, it would have been just like, oh, it was a weak competitor. He didn't care about it. I'm just like, yeah, no, I hide behind a schmar. to quote Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
but yeah, and then if I was to beat him, I don't think I could handle John Roca not liking me. I mean, we've never met. We've only kind of crossed paths here and there, but you know, I just love Roca, and I don't want him to hate me.
We can tell you a little bit about that. At one point, he was not a big fan of us, but we did mend our fences last year. So,
oh, okay, well that's good. but Merle, I would say Merle would be one of those people that, you know, it's kind of like when you see somebody and you're like, huh, I would kind of love to see what that match would look like. So, you know, not necessarily saying I would beat him, but you know, it's like playing a tennis match with somebody where you're just like, oh, I would love to see what you can do. Oh, that'd be fun to kind of go back and forth for a little bit, you know. But in this competition, it always turns into a competition. So, I mean, I would definitely say Merle. I would love to go up against.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I like that.
Okay, I got about 2 more. So if people want to start getting their chats ready, or their check questions ready for either Streamlabs, Super Chat, or you know, in the chat as well. Streamlabs and Super Chats always get priority. Otherwise, but ask them in the chat as well. We'll get those questions going as well. But again, for now, got 2 more. I'm going to ask. One, better Batman, and I'll give you a 3-way here.
Ooh.
Keaton,
Okay.
Bale, or Affleck.
Solely on Batman?
Solely on Batman. The character, like playing the character, not necessarily the films. It's the character, like playing the character.
Okay.
All right. Well, I would say. Okay, so I love Keaton. Keaton was my first Batman, absolutely. He definitely captured certain elements about it, and he also captured the nature that you didn't have to be this really buff dude in order to strike fear into his enemies, which, you know, that's a different interpretation of Batman, absolutely. And Bale, you know what? Oh my God, I would say. I mean, Bale just was really well-rounded in so many ways. Like, I think he's the best Bruce Wayne we've ever had. Still to this day, okay. I think he's the best Bruce Wayne that we've ever had because, you know, they've dealt more into his backstory, and you got to see sort of the psychological state of what losing your parents will do to you, and how that drives that need for vengeance, and how that drives so much. But Affleck, I feel did a great job as well, because he delivered that, but just what that character would look like 20 years down the line, and if he was on the verge of moral bankruptcy, and if he was just like, you know what I didn't work, and the big thing was I was very easy on criminals. That was one of my favorite lines in the Dark Knight Returns in the comic, was that he realized that there's a point where he says, the one big mistake I realized early on was I was too soft on them. And then that's where you see like the moments where he's like snapping the leg in half, and then all this other stuff, and like, you know, using the giant tank with the giant rubber bullets. I mean, it's, oh man, like, see, all 3 of them were great in their own way, but if I was to pick one, again, completely non-biased. I mean, you know, I'm gonna go with Bale.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, the one thing that none of them actually only Keaton has nailed this one aspect of Batman. That's the voice.
Okay.
Keaton has been the only one that I'm like simultaneously like, yep, that's Batman voice. Where it's a little tough to hear. I'm Batman. You know what I mean? But then it's also tough to hear. You know, the Bat voice where he's like, "Why did you say that name?" like I don't know. I'm hoping Robert Pattinson does something different with it and something that is a good meld between all of them, because everything what we've been hearing about that is just it's going to be focused entirely on character. And the big question that I always come up with anytime someone is about to play Batman is how good is their Bruce Wayne, because their Bruce Wayne will define how their Batman is going to be later.
Very true. Very true. I like that. That's a good take on it. Okay. I like that. Okay. Last one I'll do. Posters or figures?
Ooh.
That is an air question. Oh goodness. Yeah. I'll have to explain why that one's a question. So literally my office, they are doing some renovations on the building right now, but like literally in my office, I turned it into a second living room where I collect nothing but NECA figures and I collect nothing but all these action figures. And then also on top of that, I just started putting posters up all over my office. And then one day I kind of came to the office a little early, and I work in the night crew, and I saw some of the day crew people. I saw people like taking photos of my office space, and I'm like, oh, sorry, it's just like you got all these figures over here, and they all look awesome, but oh man. But between the two, between posters and figures, that's going to be a tough one for me. Because the other thing I love doing with my figures is I love customizing them, and I love just rebuilding them from scratch. Do you know about the Tom Savini Jason?
I do know about it, but I don't have it myself, but I love looking at it from what I've seen.
So basically that figure is not on sale anywhere, and I wanted that figure so badly, and to the point where I actually just took a Friday the 13th figure and remolded it and basically repainted it from scratch to make it into the Tom Savini Jason figure. And it's up on my Instagram somewhere. And like, I actually posted up on Twitter and Instagram, and actually Tom Savini himself retweeted it and gave me props for it. And I was like,
Nice.
oh, wow. All right. That's
wow. Legendary there. My God.
Yeah.
We have something like Savini. Oh, wow. That's impressive right there.
Yeah, no. Oh, that's tough. All right. You know what? I'm going to by a hair. Winner by a hair. I will say posters.
Posters. Okay. All right.
And in particular, what I'm talking about is like the Mondo posters, like this Pan's Labyrinth thing right here. Like that's something that's special, and it's something that is not widely available. And also the Man of Steel thing as well too. I love what people can do when they make art like that. Right. And also Eric back over at his place has a really great Libremajo Justice League poster, and it looks stunning. Wow. And yeah, but oh yeah, no, Robert Adams in the chill the figures, yes. But Robert Adams in the chat is saying yes, love Mondo, love the commitment, but yeah, God, no, Mondo posters that's been like my latest thing that's come on. But the thing is with Mondo, I can only collect few of them because it piles up.
Yeah.
I have like 3 of them over on the side right here. They're basically just kind of waiting in rotation. Like if you've noticed, I've actually just rotated my posters every week or so. Every time we've done a podcast, but that's simply because I just want these all over the place.
I get that aspect, absolutely. Sweet.
I got my the shining carpet bottle cover that I have, like the basically koozie that I have, that anyone who's watched the show has seen it. You've seen it on the show. I don't have it. I can't grab it right now. I got that at an Alamo Draft House, and I feel like I'm more than sure that that's a Mondo product as well.
Oh yeah, they're so great with their stuff. I love Mondo.
Me too. I do.
You know what? I'm going to audible and give you one more because we just mentioned, and you mentioned Stephen King before, The Shining or Doctor Sleep.
I hate it when Paul asks this question.
Shining or Doctor Sleep? Both, and here's the thing: both adaptations are not faithful to the books at all. Like, sorry, to a certain extent. Like the first 2 acts are definitely very much translated from the book, but then the third act always goes in a completely different direction that I'm kind of okay with both of them. Oh man, see,
Also,
I love.
Before Andres answers this question, if anyone would love to hear me rant about The Shining and the entire property behind it, let me know, because that is also something that I can completely rant about. And and for whatever reason, if anyone has watched the latest the latest season of the Umbrella Academy, there is literally a Stanley Kubrick reference inside of every single episode, and I cannot believe that I have not seen any channel anywhere on the internet reference this or make note of this.
Looks like you gotta do something for your channel.
We've talked about this before.
Yes.
Like, it's insane that no one has talked about this at all. Okay, Andres, have you picked
please.
your decision?
Okay. All right. I'm going to go controversial here. Dr. Sleep.
Oh.
Nice. Okay. Interesting.
And this is a particular reason right here as well, too. Oh, and there's my buddy Eric right there, guys.
Chat there. Thank you so much, Eric. We always love having you around, popping in super late to show support for my buddy. Love seeing him hang with the SD community. He deserves it. He absolutely does. You guys don't know how often we talk on Twitter every day about just movies and all the general stuff, and he's a really good guy. I love this guy. So.
Oh yeah, no, Eric's a one of a kind dude. Oh, Yodi for Chronic.
Mm-hmm.
Yodi for Chronic. Wait,
Yodi for Chronic, guys.
Chronic for Chronic and Chronic for Yodi. Both.
Yes. Adams, both Adams. Hashtag the proper hashtag right there, right? Oh goodness! But can we just spend like 5 seconds just talking about Eric's contribution to the Schmoedown?
You can absolutely do that because I love
like seriously, like.
Yes.
Not throwing shade on whoever was doing it previously or anything like that. Like, you know, that was one stage of it, but. Honestly, probably one of the biggest things about competing this year was I got a promo with Eric cutting it, and he actually made me look kind of okay. I was like, wow, holy crap!
Like Paul and I have really been fortunate to be fans of the Schmoedown for as long as we have. We've had the opportunity to watch it grow. I've been a fan of this show since season 2, like.
Mm-hmm.
The beginnings of this show. So to watch it grow from where it's been to where it is now, Eric has a huge role in that. The promos elevate this game to a level
so much
that allow all of us as fans to make sure that there's absolutely an enjoyment in whatever match happens, because no matter what happens in a match, we all, as a fan community, I guarantee you, as many people as I've seen in Twitter, on Facebook, all of us as a fan community look so forward to those Nerd Chronic promos during a match that sometimes those are even better than the match.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Into that, and for a long time, like, I don't want to say that I was against Eric for the Yodi Award. I never, but it would just never was anything that I had really like taken seriously until this season, and how important he was to completely keep people hyped up. Yes. Chronic for Yodi for Chronic. Yes. This season has really shown how important that has been for all of us to completely still feel like this is a part of our world and our connection. So big shout out to Eric for making us cry every single week. Thank you.
Favorite Chronic promo.
Thank you for ruining my makeup every week.
Favorite Chronic promo.
Go.
Favorite what?
Chronic promo.
Oh, favorite Chronic promo.
Let's say not yours. I mean, 'cause you have a personal instinct.
No. And I wouldn't go as bold to say that either. Honestly, oh man, okay. Oh, the best one out of the bunch. It's a toss up between all three that he did at Spectacular, because that was also the other thing I was going to bring up. People could kind of be like, oh, of course you're going to love Eric because he's your buddy, and of course you're going to be biased about it. I'm like, no, dude, this dude literally cut something that I was helping him get B-roll over there while he was editing the promos during Spectacular, and just the level of forethought and planning of like taking stuff that me and another buddy of ours was shooting there on site and then literally editing that into the promo. That's
impressive.
It is insane. It is absolutely mind-boggling. I'm an editor as well too, and like every time I look at a promo that Eric has edited, I'm just like, might as well just quit. I'm done. like I might as well just pull a Roy Batty and just be like, time to die.
I remember we were sitting in the audience at Spectacular watching that and going, that happened earlier tonight. How the fuck is he doing this and making it work so well?
Yeah. And there never seems to be a misstep as well. Oh yes, that one's great too.
That's my favorite one.
I'm biased. I'm completely biased, but I'll still go back to the Guy Bateman Civil War from Houston.
Yes.
Oh yeah, you know what? That's a great one too.
Ooh, that's exactly me. Tears every time.
Oh, subscribe to that Clips channel, y'all. If you have not, it's not only is it one of the best ways to introduce Schmoedown to anyone who is not familiar with it, it's also a fun way to go back and just reminisce about certain times that you really love. And they keep uploading newer moments like throughout time. So you get to go, if you haven't subscribed to it yet, now you get to go back and watch everything that they've put on there before, and you get to see anything else that they put on there from the future. And they're like, not all of the moments are on there. Like as a fan, like I know not all of the moments are on there. And so it's really great to see what they've been doing with that Clips channel. So please go subscribe to that.
Definitely. Talking about this, and in the chat, everybody's throwing up different ones, and there's like not even been a repeat yet. It's all been like different ones. I'm like, that just shows you how awesome it is, man.
Yeah, and how consistently good he is too. And like, there's, I mean, like, even as a competitor and even as like, someone who watches the Schmoedown, there's going to be just a little bit of bias in terms of like, oh, maybe like I don't know what I'm going to do with this person. It feels like he's equally invested in everybody, and it just. It really shows, and it shows how much passion he has for this. But also, I saw someone said this promo brought me to tears. Do want to bring up another one that actually legitimately brought me to tears was the Schnepp tribute, actually.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't think about that one. Yeah. That's another great one.
I was in a fortunate. I mean, this is back before he was cutting regularly for the Schmoedown. But he knows how much I love Schnepp, and he knows how much I love the documentary. And literally on the day that he passed, me and Eric, we just both hung out over at the office and popped in Death of Superman Lives, and we were just like, oh man. But the thing is, he showed me a rough cut of what he had for the tribute, and like legitimately, I'm just like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm done. Like, I'm sorry, I can't give you any notes. It's beautiful.
So perfect, right? Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's right. Forever Sweaty. Absolutely, Forever Sweaty.
Yes.
I would love to have. I'm chill. I'd love to have a good interview with him. It would have been great to have a talk to him. But
oh man, I got to talk with him that WonderCon, and he was just, I mean, like what's called like you go up to these panels and stuff like that, and you expect to only talk to some of these people for like 5 or 2 or 3 minutes or something like that. No, like we just ended up having a conversation for about 10 or 15 minutes. Like he was so just like the biggest like nerd that you just want to talk to, and sorry, biggest geek that you want to talk to, and just like instantly you're just wrapping up, and you're just talking about like, oh my God, can you believe that they did this in this show and all this other stuff? Yeah, no, he's great. He's great. And we all miss him.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. Is it on the Clips channel yet?
I don't think it's up on there yet. That was the one thing that I thought it was up somewhere, and then it just wasn't. That'll be a good question to ask Eric. So
Eric, talk to Frank.
Also, a good reason to subscribe to the Clips channel already in case it isn't on there. So when it does get on there,
we're ready to go right away.
Oh man,
it's that bell button, y'all.
That right there too. I wish he could have put together his League of Villains that they were considering for the Schmoedown. That was like the storyline that was going to happen if he had kept going. That would have been great. But well, all right, that ends this or that. You survived. You're still here. I'm impressed. So we can start getting some more questions in the chat, like I said, but we'll take our moment to plug the rest of the week. Danny, what we got going on the rest of the week, and I'll take care of Monday.
We should switch that because you're more aware of what's going on.
Okay. Actually, I will tell you something. I'll say that because we are only human, and there are 7 matches this week. We're not going to be breaking down every single match because it just ended up not being able to be possible for us at this point. So we are going to be breaking down the Zipper versus Preston match tomorrow night after it happens. We will, with guest Eric Zipper. We will be doing 2 on Thursday, breaking down Sabrina Ramirez versus Vinny Mancuso with Vinny Mancuso. And we'll also be breaking down The Kid versus Alonso Duralde, possibly with a guest. I don't think that's been officially booked yet, so we'll see. Then again, we'll also have on Sunday Call Live. We'll be breaking down our special Saturday version of Call Live. We'll be breaking down the pay-per-view for The Founding Father versus Corruption, as well as Who's the Boss versus Shazam. And we'll also at that point talk about the 2 matches we didn't get a chance to break down, which is today's Lon Harris versus Sabina Graves, as well as the other match on Wednesday, which I'm kind of forgetting what it is right at the very moment. I believe on Wednesday it's a doubleheader match on Wednesday. The other match, I don't remember the exact other match. There's so many matches going on. Other match we're not covering one of those matches, and that match we're going to be covering on Call Live breakdown at that point as well. And then Schmo Bates is still in transit. We're not sure what happened with Schmo Bates this week. We're trying to get to the match. We'll let you know as soon as we know. And then actually, you don't have to talk about next Monday because I'll just play Kelsey's.
Before you do it, really quick. Okay. Next Monday is going to be very exciting for all of us. We are very much looking forward to this coming Monday. Paul and I have been planning, sort of, and trying to get stuff done and get stuff ready, but we feel like next Monday is definitely going to be a big fun one for everyone. So Paul, I'll let you go ahead and play.
All right, let's play the clip. Where is it? There you go. That's right. Get Still Dre ready because if Christian won't do it, we will. We will be reuniting Team Action. Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman both will be appearing on Chilled Action. We'll be talking about the Schmoedown. We'll be talking about Action Industries. We'll be talking about Called Action, Chilled Action. We're going to be celebrating Action Army in general. And it should be a lot of fun. We're going to try to go a little long with some people, have some maybe some other, like we may have Billy Belfer come on for a little bit. I have a lot of people we might just talk to, and well, last thing is just go as they may. Who knows what's going to happen? So, but it should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, you guys come to celebrate with us and hang with us. Not going to make it too big of a deal out of it, but it has been a year to the day and 50 episodes. In this day and age, that's kind of a big thing for us. So we're happy to have gotten that far. So please,
I can't believe we've been doing this for an entire year, Paul.
I know. We only missed like 2 weeks in the year, I think.
We did only miss 2 weeks in the entire year, which has been fun. So please come and celebrate with us on this 50th episode. We definitely cannot wait. And we're very much looking forward to have Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman come and join us for this stream because This is an Action Army podcast, and we have been an Action Army fan for a very, very long time. So we're very glad and proud to represent the Action Army. So we're gonna have Ben Bateman and Andrew Guy on for our 1-year anniversary, and I'm super pumped about it. Yay!
And not only that, but it's interesting to note. I've noted a few times, but if you haven't been aware, this is the first time we've had a repeat guest in 50 episodes. We've had no repeat guests unless you count the one near parody where we did have Brett Sheridan and we did have Zuffler and Flaus. But those are two alternate personalities, so we'll get away with that. I think we're gonna get away with that one. But yes. So yeah, it happened to be that actually was not, by the way, Brandon Buckingham said that. That's actually the fact that their match is being aired that Friday had absolutely nothing to do with it. It happened to be coincidental. I'm excited and ecstatic that it happened to fit in. But it did. It was great. So I'm hoping that you will be able to get there and go from that. So
hey, Video Droop.
Oh, Video Droop in the chat. All right. Good to see you. There we go. Where is she?
So I know that we did get some questions in the chat.
Thank you, Justin. Thank you. We do chill a little bit. We do chill for too much. We're not going to lie. And yes, see, Justin absolutely gets it. So, all right, let me chill on back.
Zach Singer. Andres, what is your favorite celebrity that you have met?
This one's kind of a wash at certain points because I mean, like let's call it they're like for me it's I mean, when you're living in LA, sometimes you have run-ins with people. That's the type of thing that ends up happening. So I mean, so would you count run-ins as that as well?
I would.
Yeah.
I would.
I'll count it. I'll allow it.
Yep. All right. You'll allow it. All right. Actually, you know what? Felicia Day is probably one of my favorites.
Oh, that's
but
cool.
and here's a fun story for you. Actually, I ran into her over at I think it was a CVS or someplace just randomly in town, and I was contemplating a bubblegum purchase, and I was just like, I don't know which one I'm gonna go for. I'd like it was just me being stupid after a 16-hour day at work, and just be like, I don't know what to do anymore. And I literally just looked over at the person right behind me. And I'm like, oh, you can go forward. And I was like, oh, that's Charlie from Supernatural. That's awesome. and so literally I just let her go forward, and then she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, no, go ahead. It's fine. And then I don't know how, but 3 or 4 years later, I went to a book signing for her latest book that came out back in October. I'm blanking on the title right now, but I love it. So I went over to a book site, and then she literally looked at me. He's like, hey, I remember. Oh, CVS. I was like, wait, what? Holy crap. That was 3 years ago. I remember telling Eric that story, and he's just like, oh, that's great. But that one to me is probably one of my favorite ones. But also, if there was another one I could throw in there just as a sheer, this is how clumsy I am in real life. I used to work for a screening company around town where we basically just run test screenings and stuff like that. So I'm over at the Sony lot, and I am basically just looking at my phone, trying to find a map to basically get to where I was supposed to be going. And I wasn't paying attention to anything in front of me. So literally I'm looking over at this phone, and then 5 seconds before I collide into somebody, I just look up, and I'm like, holy crap, I almost collide. Oh my God, it's Brie Larson.
There you go.
Oh my God, it's Brie Larson. And then literally, you know that moment that you have where you go left and the other person goes left, and then you go right and then the other person goes right, and you're just like, all right, sorry, just I'll go this way, you go that way type of thing. But that was just, it's probably just a small little thing. It's not a big deal, but that one just always makes me laugh because I'm like, oh God, that's just a regular, just clumsy everyday occurrence type of thing. but yeah, no, it was so funny.
So
oh no,
it was so situation.
Oh no, it was awkward, but it was just so funny. She just laughed about it right then and there, and I'm like, huh, all right, she has a sense of humor. That's great. I just walked off. And this is before they shot Captain Marvel too, so I was just like, oh my God, that's gonna be Captain Marvel. But yeah, no, that's. I mean, I'm sort of just like more like, oh, the run-ins are kind of funny more than anything else. But like, yeah, those are the two that sort of stick out in my head.
Nice.
Fair enough, those are good. All right, got one on here. Star Drew. It's not. I don't think he wrote it quite right, but I understand what he means. Only because I know he's watched the show before, and he wants to know about poutine versus loaded fries. I believe that's what he's looking for. Do you want to do like poutine or loaded fries?
You know what? Having just discovered poutine fries, I actually do like poutine fries. Actually, so yeah.
That's what Robert Adams is very excited about that. I'll tell you that much. He's yelling about poutine. When anybody gets it right, he's very excited about it.
Poutine is great. I get it. Loaded fries is something that everyone wants to like add on to these ideas of what loaded fries are, but poutine is a classic and it's great just the way that it is. Loaded fries are different for everyone.
It's a classier version of loaded fries.
That's true. It is classic. I guess I'm just not very classy. I'm not being very classy. I like loaded fries, but that's okay. Yes, Video Drew has no Wi-Fi. She's actually just doing this from her brain, and that's pretty impressive, Drew. I'm always impressed to hear that.
Her Drew-fi.
Drew-fi.
Robert's very excited for you. Very happy for you.
Yes. Good gravy, and good gravy will save anyone's life.
Oh yes.
And Weston the Captain Marvel too, so thank God you didn't run her over. There you go.
Me too.
Yeah, Chris Adams actually has a good point. The gravy and cheese curd being classy.
Yeah, a little more classy, I would say.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, you don't end up looking like a 5-year-old after you're done with loaded fries. I mean, you don't end up looking like a 5-year-old with poutine fries as you do when you do loaded fries. Like I just feel like it's just a mess. But anyway,
poutine. I love that, Jessica. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. We got Danny Costin here, our own Danny Costin.
Yeah.
What would Andre's final girl song be?
Final girl song. Can you clarify that a little more, actually?
Yeah, Danny, actually, can you clarify? I'm not even sure that. I assume the final girl is like a horror.
Kind of clarify it for Danny. So so just kind of the I think final girl song. So the final girl and all of the horror movie classic tropes. And Danny, this is my bad because I'm just assuming this is kind of what you're meaning. But like, if you had to pick, like,
Dwayne. Sorry.
They had to pick a theme song for what yourself as a final girl would be. What would your theme song as a final girl be? I'm assuming, and Danny, I'm assuming that that's what you mean. I'm so sorry if that's not exactly what you mean by that question.
Yeah, I'll give one answer right now, and then if he clarifies it, I'll definitely amend my answer on that. But, man, honestly, this is gonna sound like such a cliche, but I just love this song just by itself. But I think it would be Pat Benatar's "Hit Me with Your Best Shot."
Classic rock out there. Oh, I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. You got J. Scott for real. If the wheel slice was a slice of food, what would it be? I go apple pie.
I would go pumpkin pie. No, you know what, J. Scotty, in my opinion, it is apple pie. I love pumpkin pie. I hate apple pie. Not a big fan of the digital wheel, so it's apple pie for sure.
The digital wheel of death. You know what? I'm gonna break away from the fruits. Actually, I'm gonna say meat pie.
Meat pie. I like that.
Yeah. Has anybody ever had a taco pie before?
I have actually. I have.
Yeah.
That's some good shit right there.
I've had
exactly right.
Is it the same thing as would a taco bowl be what is a taco pie? Is it like actually like a pie shell, like a pie crust and all of the taco ingredients inside of it?
Yeah, no, not all the taco ingredients inside of it, or at least the way I make it is just it's more or less just with the ground beef in the middle of it, and then sort of adding the cheese on the top layer. and you can add like a a scoop of sour cream or something like that on the very top. It's more just like a deconstructed version of a taco, but just with crust as opposed to a hard taco shell.
That's basically what a taco bowl is where I'm from. So it's a deep fried taco shell bowl. Like it's a taco shell, like it's a big tortilla, deep fried. So it's this huge bowl, and you just fill it with taco meat, lettuce, tomato, sour cream, everything else that's in a taco, and you just eat it like that. Taco bowl.
It's an empanada, but reconfigured.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I would definitely try that. But yeah, that would be my pick for the wheel.
I'm gonna go pizza pie with extra cheese.
Ooh. You are trying to get me started on the pizza rant right now.
Ooh. You have a pizza rant, I'm here for it. I love my pizza as long as it doesn't involve pineapple. As long as it doesn't involve pineapple, I'll kick you right off.
See, I like pineapple.
You and Jake,
guys.
Can't do it. You talented me, won't let me do it.
Oh goodness.
We got some more. I got Brandon Buckingham wants to know Final Cut, Avid, or Premiere Pro?
I was all about Final Cut back 10 years ago before they updated it to X, and then I thought it was maybe the worst. It went from being the best, and then I just hated and loathed the day that they updated to X because they were trying to make it more friendly for consumers, and I'm just like, yeah, but you alienated all the professionals that love this version. So yeah, so Final Cut automatically gets off the board. I love 7, but 7 is not getting updated nearly. I mean, it hasn't been updated in like years, so there's no reason to go back to it, and it's kind of primitive by this point in time. But between Avid and Premiere Pro, I'd have to say I like Premiere Pro actually a little better. Avid is the standard in the industry, but Premiere Pro is I know my way around it. I'm more comfortable with it, but yeah, I'm definitely more comfortable with Premiere Pro.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh yeah, and Dwayne's here on the chat saying DaVinci Resolve as well too. But yeah, that's also a great one as well. So I prefer both of those, and I also prefer all that other stuff. Brendan's. Oh my god.
Sorry, some of us only know how to edit on iMovie. So
it's no, and it's fine. It's just one of those things where I was. I'll tell you a quick story. I was working over in an advertising agency back in Chicago when they did the change from X to 7, and from 7 to X. And then my boss was just screaming at me why it took me like twice as long to edit some of my things and twice as long to basically get some stuff done, because it's a freaking sticky little thing that there can't be blanks anywhere. I'm like, I'm a person that I leave a lot of stuff blank in a timeline and I come back to. I'm like, when it comes to editing, I'm like a Tarantino film. You know what? I'll start at the end and I'll go to the beginning, and I'll go to the middle, and then, we'll meet in the middle type of thing. But anyway, that's my entire rant.
Part of that weird coding world. I only know this from osmosis basically, but the tab versus the return. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Are you part of that weird coding world? Do you have a preference?
Not really. Not really. I mean, they both work, so it's just I just don't like it when a program is telling me I can't do something because they're like, oh, we actually are trying to make it easier. No, you're making my life harder. You're making my life really hard right now.
Stop it.
Yeah. So we do have another question from Danny Coast. What is Andres' favorite indie horror
film? Favorite indie horror film? Honestly, there's been such a big boom over the past 5 years that it's just become this giant thing that now it's kind of weird now saying indie horror film, because sometimes they become a big thing later on and they just turn into just a big classic in general. But if I was to go for my favorite indie horror film, I'm not going to take the easy answer and say Halloween, because technically that was an indie film as well, or Friday the 13th, because they all started off as indies that were all in a negative pickup deal with their studios.
Right.
But I will say, I know Eric's going to agree with me on this. I would say I love The Witch.
Okay. All right.
The Witch is one of those horror films that it didn't scare me right then and there, but it stuck with me so much, and there were so many indelible images in that film that just make me just go, holy crap. Like, it truly unsettled me at certain points.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say The Witch is probably one of my favorite indie horrors. But, throwing it out there, Midsommar or Hereditary. Oh, man. Yeah. Do you want to know the answer to that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Throw it out there. Go ahead.
Midsommar is it for me.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh goodness! This is probably where you're just going to shut me off here.
But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you why. Also, we don't have to talk about it on camera. We can talk about it out.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna say really fast. Hereditary for me.
Okay. I'm actually
Midsommar.
I like them both. So.
Okay, you like them both. That's fine. Midsommar was one of those that I saw in the theater, and I was frankly disappointed by it. But
okay,
I saw Midsommar in the theaters 3 days after I broke up with my boyfriend.
Oh,
jeez. Okay, all right.
It hit me in a way that it was supposed to hit me, and that was my favorite movie of 2019. I absolutely.
So remind me not to ever date Danny and break up with her.
So you wanted to put your ex in a bear suit, right?
I'm gonna say that's definitely not a no. That's definitely not a no from her.
sorry, guys. Oh man,
fine. He's a good dude. But
okay, that's good. I mean, that's good. Oh well,
but yeah.
Kind of feels like we're going to a dangerous road with this one. Sorry. I know.
I said, started laughing.
You never know what the future. Danny's my work wife, for Christ's sake. Anyway, so.
Oh goodness.
I started laughing at the end of the movie. The way that she started laughing, hit me in a way that I was like, "Girl, I get it."
Yeah. Oh my goodness. See, you just reminded me.
Laughing, I legit was as soon as she started laughing, I started laughing with her, and I was like, "Girl, I fucking get it." Yeah. Yep. I walked out of the movie laughing. So, but in a way that was cathartic. So that's my Midsommar story. Sorry.
That's no problem.
But honestly, I get that entirely. You just remind me of another movie that I saw post breakup. I literally saw Up 2 hours after I got broken up with.
Honey.
Yeah. And the funniest thing was my uncle was like, "Yeah, let's go see this Pixar movie. You're gonna love it. You love Pixar." And then all of a sudden, when we go in, it's they're married now. Now she's dead.
I'm just, because we're telling stories here. One of my very best friends, I wanted to make her grandmother had just passed away. So I wanted to help her make her feel better. So I was like, let's go to the movies. Let's go watch this new Disney movie, Moana.
But Moana.
I felt so bad. As soon as that scene happened, I was like, dude, I didn't know that this was going to happen. I'm so sorry. I legit leaned over to her and was like, I'm really sorry about this.
You gotta love Disney for just being like, we know exactly what to do to make things a little awkward now. Oh goodness.
It was so tough.
Burgers or pizza? I think you're vegetarian, correct? No, actually, I'm not a vegetarian anymore. What's called Birds of Prey was one reason why I decided to skip vegetarianism. But I would definitely say pizza, absolutely pizza, and in particular, one particular brand of pizza, which is Chicago's Giordano's deep dish pizza. Which anybody Google Giordano's Chicago deep dish, and immediately it's just like, oh well, I'm not a fan of deep dish. It's like, no, those you've not had deep dish like this. It's fantastic.
Okay.
You see if I can get that on. I'm actually going to look that up. Okay. All right.
Paul, real quick. I'm not a fan of deep dish pizza. I'm actually the weirdo that orders their pizza without sauce on it.
I actually would more do that than I would anything else, to be honest with you. I'm not a big sauce. I like a light sauce on mine, if nothing else.
I always ask for light sauce, but no one ever really gets it right when I ask for light sauce. They always just put like a normal amount of sauce. And I'm like, bruh, especially Papa John's. I don't like Papa John's.
Oh, fuck.
Well, it's Papa John's, so.
Yeah, chain. Miss Lovett's pizza. Yes, and yes. I get the reference, Robert. We definitely.
I think we all get the reference.
London. But like those pies look legitly disgusting.
They're better than Frey pies. They're better than Frey pies.
See, I would enjoy a Frey pie a little more because I'm just like, I hate all you guys.
I hate all of you. You're all
Arya Stark, can I get seconds? Oh, thank you, girl.
You're lucky you didn't get a Game of Thrones episode today. Because this whole thing could have been about Game of Thrones.
It could have been. Danny can find anything about the Game of Thrones, and easy to do for her. So, well, it looks like that's the end of the questions for tonight. Unless I want to check the Streamlabs one more time. Yeah, we're good. That's it. That is it. So I think, Danny.
That's it, y'all. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much for coming in and hanging out with us on this Monday. Happy Monday, y'all. As always, with my new I was about to say C2A, but these are Action Army sunglasses from the Action Industries brand. They got a good old salute next to them. You can't see it because it's all blurry. The Action Industries logo. So big shout out to Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman. If you're not a part of their Patreon, go and sign up right now so you can get some cool swag. I do also have the AMA coin that's up there, but I'm not going to disturb it. Anyways, you can also find me. Hello. Hi. It's your girl, Danny Joy here. You can find me on Twitter at Danny Joy, DANIEEJOY. You can also find me here every Monday hosting Chill to Action with my favorite co-host, Mr. Paul Denuzio, where we hang out and talk to Schmoedown competitors. Next week, y'all, we're having Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman for our 50th anniversary, for our 50th episode / 1 year anniversary. We cannot wait for that. We're super excited about that. We can't believe, Paul and I seriously can't believe that we've been doing this for an entire year.
Oh, wow.
It blows my brain every single time. So thank you to every single person who has come on and to every single one of you who have been with us every Monday, Sunday / Monday, because we used to do them Sundays.
We did actually back in the day, didn't we?
So much for hanging out with us every week on Chill to Action on the Call to Action Network. You all have no idea how much I appreciate it. How much I appreciate every single one of you. And as always, Paul, where can we find you? Plug what we have going on.
Well, I'm going to let Andres plug himself first. Andres, where can we find you? Where can we find you since you're a guest? Where do you? Tell us if you can find you, what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. So if you want to take a look at any other stuff I've been doing lately, you can find me on Twitter as Gallegos. You can also find me on Instagram as Gallegos as well, too. And then you can also find me on my buddy's High Voltage Media page, which we do video reviews for movies, video games. I'm a co-host on his all-time gaming channel. I edit all the videos as well, too. And this week, we're actually going to be talking about GTA Vice City, which is a classic for us, and we absolutely love that game top to bottom. We're going to be doing a retro review on that one, and you can also find me on Twitch with the Avengers beta, and hopefully some Friday the 13th coming out later as on Twitch as Gallegos209. So just remember, 209 is same thing as RoboCop, Ed209, Gallegos209.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, and for me, you can find me at Paul _Denuzio on Twitter. You can find me on Chilled Action every week. So with Danny Joy, and again, of course, we have Ben and Drew next week. Like Danny said, I'm excited about it. And some other guests have already been booked as well for Beyond. So stay tuned for that. Some big guests have been booked, and we're excited about those as well. But I won't say anything quite yet. You also find me on the Action Industries YouTube channel, where I run the Patreon for Ben and Drew. So like I said, yeah, do go join and be a Patreon member because that helps me keep my job there. And and if I'm in class action on their channel as well with Jarvie, where I break down things this Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific, myself and Jarvie will be joined by Brandon Hanna, and we will be taking on Star Trek 2009 versus Star Wars The Force Awakens. So a little bit of J.J. Abrams versus J.J. Abrams action going on. We'll see how that works out. And you can subscribe to PLD Projects as soon as I get a few thumbnails from my boy Jake Acavetta and I nail things down. I will be starting up the Harris Dance, where I go through every movie that Ed Harris has ever been in and make you love him like I do, or I die trying, because that's how I do it. So.
It's Harris on.
Thank you all so much again for hanging out with us on this Monday. I'm sorry, did I miss something? I'm sorry.
No. I just wanted to real quick just to let everybody know. Thank you so much for letting me come on board and just chatting with you guys, and also for everybody just in the comments. Everybody. I mean, right off the top of my head, Eric, Chris, Robert, Star Drew, everybody that's on here right now, and everybody that hung around, and I hope I gave you guys a good show as well too. So, yeah. So, honestly, just thank you so much for sticking on board and for all the love and support after everything, and I love this community. It's great.
It's the best community that there can be. I'm going to say it's a great community. And as far as fandoms can get toxic, but overall the Schmoedown community is pretty good. So
I don't listen to the toxic stuff.
The community has always been nice on this end, and we always appreciate everyone who comes in here and sends us positive vibes. So come in here and hang out with us every Monday. Hang out with your favorite Schmoedown personality. Send them some good vibes. Let them know that you appreciate them and everything that they do for us as fans and for this community. So please send some love to your favorite Schmoedown competitors. Hang out with us every Monday. Get your questions in every Monday. Like, comment, subscribe. C2A 2K coming soon. We cannot wait. Comment on this video afterwards if you have any other questions for Andres after this video. If you're watching this on a playback, put it in the comments. Let me know. I'll make sure to get these questions to him, and we will get them answered for you. How about that? We love you all so much. We appreciate every single one of y'all in the community, for the Action Army, for Call to Action, and for everyone else here. Thank you all so much. And as always, we salute you. Thank you.